Hello YouTubers. A number of you have asked how the slip clutch is working, so I thought the best way to do that is to take it apart and put it back together and just explain some of the parts as I go. Before I start though, I just wanted to explain that I have made a stop that you can slide along the block section here, and then using this big Allen screw you can tighten it up in any position. It's all has an aluminum big thick washer behind it and aluminum back here, so there's no damage along the ways here. So that can be positioned anywhere. One of the things I found out right away though is I can move it right across, and of course when the ratchet pawl is swinging, it's possible to get your fingers pinched. So one of the first things I did was created a little plate here that just stops you from moving it too far over and getting your fingers pinched. So I'm going to leave that on there, and we'll take a look at the screw. The big screw here. What I did here was I machined the end here so that I could put on a washer. There wasn't enough surface area to create enough friction when I originally did it. So what I did was I put the washer with a 45-degree angle on it so that there's more surface area, and you'll understand more when I put some of the parts back onto it. So let's get this screw in there now. Oop. And of course I forgot something right away here, just hold on. It's not going to work all that great without the ratchet pawl on there. Okay, so before I go any further, I just want to mention there's no changes inside of the ratchet pawl here. It's just the standard setup. And I didn't use the actual ratchet wheel that came with it because it was a brass one and it was broken. I made a new one here. And as you can see, I've made the mating cone here that fits well to this one here. So let's get this back on. Okay, so before I push it in any further, the next part that would go on is the ratchet wheel. Like I said, it's designed to snug up against that cone shape there. And there is a little bit left on this inner section here that is just riding on the shaft here. So the whole point of this slip clutch is that as the ratchet pawl is engaging and moving this wheel, there's a spring and force being pushed onto this. And if there's enough pressure, of course, it'll move the whole box, but when it comes up against the stop, it'll suddenly start slipping. And you'll see that there's another important part here. There's a little hole. See the hole there? So what I have that for is a pin. And the pin is really important because the next part that goes on is the outer part here, the little collar that the spring will fit onto. And I've made some slots in there that will engage that pin. Now if we didn't have that, what happens is in one direction as it's moving along, it would tend to undo the spring and make it loose. And unfortunately in the other direction, it would tighten that spring to the point where it would jam, and when it came up against the stop, you could break the teeth on the ratchet wheel. So that little pin, really important. And I just made the pin kind of floating in there. There we go. Okay. So the next thing we have is the spring here. And I put a little collar on that sleeve there for that to fit onto. And then there's a knurl nut that you can use to tighten, increase, or decrease the amount of pressure on that spring. Now when it's very loose, of course, the ratchet wheel spins really easily, and as we tighten it, it gets a little firmer. Now I think this spring, it was a spring that I was able to buy at one of the local suppliers. It's a little bit on the weak side, so I would use a little slightly heavier one, or there's something called compression washers that are cup shaped, and they're suitable for a small distance. There wasn't a lot of room here to play with, so need quite a stiff spring here. So let me just see if I can one-handedly get all this back together. There we go. Okay, we'll tighten that up. And then, just give me a minute, I've left the handle over here. And seems I've put the handle out of reach, so, well, we'll just work without the handle for a minute. So the handle would have screwed on here, of course. It's no big deal. What I did was, I think the handle was a 1/2 inch reamed to fit over the shaft. And I just made a plug and threaded the plug so that it went over the thread here. And that seemed to have worked quite well. Okay, so let's see if we got her in the right direction here. Yeah. Just keep it going. And I don't have the nuts on the other side here, and it's got a little bit of a compression washer to stop that from spinning backwards, but I think you get the idea here. That's basically it. It's pretty simple. I think this could be done on any shaper, and like I said, it's been invaluable for me. It made the shaper way more useful because I can just set it up and I don't have to watch as I get near the end of the cut. I know it's just going to hit the stop there and start slipping, and I'll come back over and set it up for the next cut. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. I do belong to the shaper group, and if they're interested, I can post some sizes of the components. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks.